Alright folks, welcome back to Kitchen Table Wargaming. We have another channel first. I've got some Space Wolves. This dude here is going to be the Warlord. He's basically just a captain. Wolf Lord, I guess is the correct term.
Teeth of Terra.
Teeth of Terra, and he's on a Thunderwolf. Big old scary wolf. It's going to be fantastic. This is, again, I'm running Drukhari. We went back and forth about Grey Knights, but I think the Drukhari will have a better chance. And looking at his list, you're going to be impressed. This is going to be a really fun / scary game for me. I don't know. So he says, I don't know. He's encountered the Drukhari once. He didn't enjoy it so much. Then this is the Succubus for my list. She's going to be the Warlord. She has the Razor Flails. She's going to try out the Precision Blows Warlord trait today instead of Competitive Edge. And that is it. So we'll be back in just a second to show you the armies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the Drukhari list I'm going to try today. This is pretty different. I'm taking some experimentation here after playing against Nathan's Drukhari in the game recently. His list was really different, and I've been wanting to do Coven and figure out how to make them work. So he gave me some ideas. Just by the way his list was built. Mine does not resemble his, so the ideas, you might find them funny. So here's what I've got. I have the Coven of 12, there's a Coven of 12, 12 something. Coven of 12 I think is right. Over here, Haemonculus, he has the Animus Vitae relic. He is also a Master Haemonculus, and he has the Twisted Animator Warlord trait, so he can bring back D3 racks. These 5 racks here are Haemoxytes, so they should be hanging out together most of the time. We'll see, it might not happen, but that's kind of the idea behind that. And the Coven of 12, if you're unfamiliar with them, all melee weapons get +1 AP in combat, and then anything that already has that obviously becomes 2. If you get the Blade Artist, you get the extra AP on a 6 to hit. So it makes them a little bit better in melee. I've got 3 Grotesques with them. These guys all have the liquifiers, so their Flesh Gauntlets now have a 1 AP, which I think is kind of nice. And then I've got a Kronos in here for the reroll ones to wound aura around him if he survives, because half the time he just dies, half the time he lives, and it's great. And along with this squad, there's 1 squad of my 5 incubi, so I've got three 5-man squads of incubi, so 1's in here to give me enough infantry bases to run 4 raiders. So I have 1, 2, and then 3, 4 raiders in this list. So that's the patrol for Coven of the 12. Then I have Prophets of Flesh, and I've got Haemonculus with a Vexator mask, no anything else, just a straight up Haemonculus with Vexator. 2 squads of 5 racks. The weapons you see are the weapons you get, so Hex Rifle, Ossifactor. He's got the Electro-Corrosive Whip, and this guy has Scissor Hands. Then there are 5 Grotesques running around in this patrol. Another set of 5 incubi, and Drazar is in that patrol because it doesn't matter where they go. And then they also have my 2 Ravagers. So the 2 Ravagers will be floating around in that patrol. Triple Disintegrator Cannons. The firepower has been pretty helpful in most games lately. Then my last patrol, Cult of Strife. So I have the Master Succubus in here. She's the Warlord. Again, taking a cue from Nathan on this, the Precision Blows Warlord trait means that any 6s to hit will go ignoring invulns. They just turn into mortal wounds. So pretty saucy with the Razor Flails. Then there's 2 base squads of witches, so no blood brides, just 2 5-man squads. That's going to be it. And then there's 1 more squad of incubi that fills in that patrol. So that is it. It comes out to 2,000 points exactly, and yeah, it'll be intriguing. I don't know if it'll work correctly, but we're going to give it a good old college try. And you're going to be impressed when you see the Space Wolves that I'm playing today. It's a pretty crazy looking list. We'll be back for the Space Wolves in just a second. Alrighty guys, here's the Space Wolves. We're going to kind of do this panoramic view because there's a bunch of craziness in this list. So you're seeing back here, we got some Dreadnoughts, a couple of Redemptors, Contemptor. The Contemptor has my least favorite weapon in the game currently, the Volkite Blasters. Murder Fang is the model. However, we're playing him as Bjorn the Fell-Handed.
That's right.
Because that reroll 1s to core units, which includes those big guys back there. It's nasty. It's really cool, but it's nasty. So we got those guys. We also have a Leviathan. He's not in that cluster because he's not core, so he doesn't get the cool reroll 1s because of Bjorn. That's all right. It'll be saucy. These are 3 squads of, you said they're in cursors, correct?
Yeah, they'll be in cursors.
3 squads of incursors. You've seen this dude, Warlord. No, sorry, that was the Warlord there. This guy is a chaplain on bike, because if you're a Space Marine player, you're probably going to bring him, and he gets the litanies that are going to make the wolves worse, right? I mean, they're insanity when they get to hit you, so I'm not excited about that. We have a couple of characters over here that you'll be familiar with. There's a librarian on the left. We got the Tech Priest here in the middle, and then we have I don't remember what he's called, the Rune Priest?
Wolf Priest.
Wolf Priest?
Yeah.
He's the special Space Wolves version of a librarian, right? Yeah. So he's there. And you've seen the Leviathan, and then, this is what I'm excited / worried about, all of the wolves, even though there are no wolves on Fenris. Riddle me this. Well, actually, I know the reason why there's none on Fenris is because they're all here. There's 2 15-man wolf whatever squads and a 9 wolf squad, so that would be, if you're counting, 39 wolves just boom here. And the way he's got this list set up is it's triple patrol, and then he has an extra relic on, was it on the chaplain?
The chaplain. Benediction of Fury.
Yeah. So that's it. So he'll start with 9 command points. I start with 9 command points. Whew, I don't know, guys. This is going to be some craziness. That is a lot of armor back there. He calls it the Iron Wolves list. I think that's appropriate. So we'll get this game rolled up. We'll deploy. We'll have some fun with this, and we'll come back to show you what's going to be happening next. Here we go. We've rolled up mission number 33. If you're not familiar with this, it's most players' favorite mission because it is priority targets. You've got 4 that are spread around the board on the outside, then you have 1 in the dead center. In this one, you roll off for attacker defender as usual, but the attacker gets to then move a target. And Carlo won the roll off. He picked that side. He moved that target back 6 inches. I took this target. I drug it back this direction. And then this one, I grabbed and I pulled it towards the middle so it's a little bit more exposed. And then he took for the last one that objective there and he pulled it back out to where it's kind of open. It's going to be fun. You have triangles for your deployment zone, so it goes this direction down here from corner to the middle of the board, and then he's picking up dice on that side, so you can just see what that deployment zone looks like. Here's how he's deployed. You got incursors sitting up there, already toe tapping on an objective. Wolves, incursors, wolves. We have, I'm going to get his name wrong, Thunderlord?
Wolf Lord.
Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf. Yes, that guy. Then you got a whole bunch of little wolves. You got Tech Marine. You got the Chaplain. You got all these crazy, scary robots. Well, they're not robots. Dreads. Then back there's the Storm Priest.
Yeah.
Rune Priest? Storm? I don't remember what he was. And the Librarian. And Bjorn. Don't be hasty.
I like that name, Storm Priest.
Storm Priest?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, he's Storm Priest now.
I'll figure he is now. Exactly.
Because he always used a Storm Caller. Right?
Yes. And then
Storm Priest now.
He's officially forever now the Storm Priest. And more incursors right there by the middle. Over for my side of the board, I've got the Kronos. I've got some big old Grotesques and a Ravager kind of hidden behind this building here. Got this boat has Haemonculus with Vexator Mask, Incubi, and Rax. This boat has the Haemonculus and Haemoxytes. He has the Animus, Vitae, and more Incubi. Back in this far back corner is another Ravager. Got a boat with Drazar, witches and Incubi, and the last boat has the Succubus, more witches, and more Rax. And my 5-man squad is in the webway of my 5-man squad of Grotesques. So the Grotesque bomb, it's on its way. You better not be caught off guard, Mr. Cardo. All right, so we're gonna do the roll-off now, and we both castled up pretty good or hid pretty well, so I don't know who wants to go first in this particular instance. So go ahead and roll. Being the guest. Ooh,
seriously?
That was a huge dice roll. It bounced off everything, but it was a 2. And I will answer with a 2. So we will roll it again. And
yes!
That's probably unfortunate. He powered it up. Went to a 5.
Wow!
I rolled a 6. Okay, well, that's spicy. That means it's going to be Drukhari, turn 1. Mm-hmm. I'm happy about this. We'll be back in a minute. Here we are, folks. End of my turn. I moved this Ravager out here to see down into the wolves in that corner there. This was really impressive. 9 shots from a triple disintegrator, hitting on 3s. I rolled 7 2s, 1 1, and 1 hit. I killed a single wolf with a whole gunboat. It's called Awkward Moment. These guys advanced, got up to that objective. He advanced up just to be able to support them a little bit, but he's not doing anything right now. This boat, there's really, he did a good job deploying back there where I couldn't see, so there's not a lot to shoot at. This Ravager moved up just so next turn I'll be able to see things that are going to hopefully come out to play. Same with this, I moved him up. I could have left him here to get 1 shot down into the Leviathan, or I could sit him on the objective, and I took Stranglehold for a secondary. So I just went ahead, got a unit on that one, a unit on that one, have a unit out on mine for priority targets. This boat moved forward, this one moved forward. Neither of them could see anything, so they didn't shoot. That Ravager back here also did not shoot. This one came forward, this Raider and this Raider. This one took a shot down into the Redemptor and rolled a 2 to wound. This Raider did the same thing, shot the Redemptor, hit it, rolled a 2 to wound. The Hex Rifle inside this Raider shot into the Thunder Wolf Cavalry Lord. One of these days I'll get his name right. Hit him, and then rolled a 2 to wound. Very consistent rolling on my part, but none of it was helpful. And then I used Fire and Fade on this one, so it's moved a little ways. It's a little bit harder to see, but also, if he decides to pop it, these guys will lose their obsec or will be counter-obsecking each other, so I don't know if he really wants to shoot that one. So that really leaves him only 1 or 2 things he can shoot at this turn. Hopefully I can survive his first turn of shooting, and then we'll get the board set up and start playing a game. So I was able to score, and speaking of scoring, these are the secondaries. I scored 3 on priority targets, 3 for Stranglehold. He also has priority targets, Assassinate and Engage, and that's it. We'll be back for the Space Wolves. Turn 1 next.
Suffering games.
Here we go. It is the end of Space Wolves, turn 1. Interestingly, with the terrain and the line of sight blocking, these boats were all safe. This one could have been shot at, but there was something sitting on an objective over here which got his attention more. My fresh, brand new painted Grotesques. They're all dead. They're all dead. However, it took an entire Leviathan and a Redemptor to finally kill off the last guy. So I'm happy that they did that, right? They didn't just instantly wither and fade. This guy was out of range. This guy was just out of range. The Leviathan could have shot at him, but they focused on what I had on objectives. This Raider was out of range from the other Redemptor back here in the corner, and this one was only visible to the Contemptor back there. I don't like Contemptors. The Contemptor took it down to 2 wounds, I think, remaining, and then he charged in with Incursors and the Fenrisian Wolves, and the Incursors popped the transport. I lost 2 getting out, but the 4 were able to get out here on either side, and the Witches on this side and the Succubus were able to get out and stay within 3 and outside of 1, all that good stuff. But then he went ahead and consolidated into me with the Rats here and the Fenrisian Wolves here. The Witches killed off the Wolves, and the Rats killed 2. I did spend a command point for Torches Craft to reroll wound rolls on them, and I managed to get 2 Incursors out of that. So, that was an interesting trade back and forth there. And, yeah, he did go for the long charge with these guys, failed. He needed an 11 and rolled an 8. Oh, we had one other combat. These guys over here did some shooting, took a couple wounds off this guy, then they charged into both of the boats. Well, actually, I take it back. He charged this boat, and then he got a long enough charge to be able to tie this one up. So that way, he shut down shooting from 2 of them. It's a clever tactic. Then he spent the command point because he was right around here. He spent the command point for the Space Wolf strat that lets them consolidate 6, which was important because it just got him outside of 6 of the center. And he took engage on all fronts for a secondary. So he just barely got himself the engage points. I think this guy's going to have to slide over now that I'm looking at it. But we know what his intent was because he has to be in that quarter. Pretty cool. Having that ability in his back pocket saved him or earned him 2 points for engaging on all the fronts. So that was a big deal. No morales to take. Yeah, that was it. So very interesting, very shy maneuvering on both sides, kind of setting things up, trying to get stuff ready for the next couple of turns. So my turn 2 is coming up next. I think it'll be a little spicy. We'll be back in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Drukhari turn 2 is ended.
This is the most crucial part.
I have Rax back there holding my priority objective. I moved this Ravager forward. He shot and killed 5 doggos from that squad. I did disembark my Incubi and my Haemonculus out of this raider here, and that raider fell out of combat and went forward there to try to do a little move block-ish. I don't know if it'll really help, but it might a little bit. These guys came in charged. These poor incursors over here, the Chronos came through and charged, Haemonculus charged, they charged, and the Incubi just killed them. They're very rude like that. This guy, I spent the command point to fall out of combat so he could shoot, and he shot and did nothing. This raider shot and did nothing, and my other raider could not shoot. So my raiders so far are 0 for 0 for 0. This Ravager killed 5 dogs. This Ravager I actually put into the Leviathan and did 2 whole wounds. I debated whether or not I should kill wolves with that Ravager or not. I wasn't real sure. And then I realized I left them way out in the open, so I spent 2 to fire and fade with that one. So he's still pretty visible to some of the tanks, but I don't know that he's going to be the first priority from the tanks, so hopefully he'll survive back there. I don't know. Then over here was killing fields for days. These witches came in, charged, killed all but 1 of the incursors, and then he hit back and didn't do anything, and then the Rax killed him. And the Succubus, of course, she came forward and charged these guys, and she just killed them. Using precision blows, killed 3 with 6s to hit, and then she had 5 more wounds after that. Yeah, it was a bad day for them. And then she fell back. She gets a 6-inch consolidate. So what I did is I moved her back here because there's no windows, which means he'd have to go real far to be able to shoot her, and I don't think he has the movement, and his wolves could come attack her, but I don't know if that would be a good story for them. It might be a heroic story for the wolves, but they're just wolves, so I don't know. Have to see what Carlo is planning and formulating over here. So at the end of my turn, I picked up Stranglehold, I picked up Priority Targets, and no Assassinate because his characters are still staying neatly tucked away from me and my bad stuff. So we'll be back for the Space Wolves, turn 2. Well, the Space Wolves have come back in a mighty way. I did spend lightning fast reactions on the boat that had Drazar. I lost 2 witches getting out of the boat. It did not actually explode, just needed to mark it. So everybody got out. The Incubi were over here. I thought they were more or less hidden from Mr. Storm Cannons over there, but there's like a 1/2 inch shooting through all of the line of sight blocking terrain, and so he cleaned out my Incubi. I made 0 saves. They had 4 up saves. I made none of them. Then my witches died to the Volkite that was on the Storm Cannon, on the Leviathan Dread. That's what I'm referring to. So that was a bummer. This Contemptor back here is the one that killed the boat to get them out in the first place, but it did take that Redemptor and the Contemptor to kill the one Raider. So that's how that all played out. The other Redemptor back there in the corner shot into this guy right here and dropped it down to a single wound, but it's still alive, so that's something. Over here, it was a party all the time, but not for the Succubus. She got killed and murderized. So these boys, they can go pretty quick, and I knew they could all advance and charge. I wasn't as worried about them. But this dude, he made a big old long move. So he moved, he advanced, and the Thunderwolf can still charge, and he needed an 8. He rolled like a 9, 10. So, I mean, he made the charge pretty handily. I didn't expect him. I thought they would probably be there, and I hoped maybe she would survive them. But guess what? 4 wounds, she rolled 4 2s. She didn't want anything to do with all these guys. She said, nope, get me out of here. So she died, picked up 4 assassinate points for him, and then these guys just had like a measly 2-inch charge, so they got in far enough to get all around here, dropping my boat down to 4 wounds, and then the boat killed a wolf in return. So that's it. I lost an Incubi squad, I lost the 3 witches that didn't die getting out of the Raider, and and my Succubus. So it's a cagey game still. We're still kind of clawing away and being sneaky. Here's the end of round scoring. So he's got 3. We both have the 6 for priority targets. He got engaged the first turn, but not the second turn. And then I got Stranglehold 2 turns, and he's got Assassinate 1 up on me on that. So let's see what I can do in my turn 3. Here come the Drukhari. I hope this turn will be a little more decisive than my last few turns, but we'll see. We'll be back after Drukhari, turn 3. Alright folks, Drukhari turn 3 has come to a close. Still holding my priority target, because that's what you do in this mission. These guys are holding this objective here. I missed an opportunity for them to poke backwards this way and shoot the Thunderwolf Lord guy, but Drazar advanced around the side of the building. He charged, just barely made it, but he made it, and he smacked around the Thunderwolf Lord. Then he got interrupted. Because he reduces damage by 1, he only took 2 wounds, and then in his second turn of fighting, he killed the Thunderwolf Lord. And I shot through these little windows down here. Both of my Ravagers were in line of sight to shoot in. I killed all but 2 wolves, then my witches came in and cleaned up the other wolves. This guy fell back out of combat so that the Incubi could charge, the Haemonculus charged, this guy, the Chronos charged. These guys got out. Disembarked and just got here tucked in behind line of sight, or out of line of sight and protected by bodies. We chunked a grenade, so everybody is operating on a battle round 4, and I killed 4 wolves with it. And then that was all the shooting that went into them. Then we mulched the poor guys with the Incubi. Then over here, the Incubi got out of this raider. They ran ahead. And with their advance roll, they got to right around here. And I went ahead and I moved the raider that was on 1 wound. He flew over this way, and I had him charge into the Storm Cannon Boy first, because that's what you do. And of course, he made the charge on the 11, so I initially placed him here, but he did decide to overwatch. And the 1 wound on that raider went bye-bye. The raider exploded, killed an Incubi, took 2 wounds off him, took a wound off of this guy as well, and took 2 wounds off of the Tech Marine. So the Overwatch hurt Carlo more than it hurt me. I felt bad about that. Almost. I did kill my Clavex, as I remember now. I took 2 mortal wounds. So then, because Space Wolves are cheeky, he spent the CP for this Redemptor to do his 6-inch heroic intervention into my Incubi. It's very rude. It's clever, but it's crazy. So he shows up. They all stomp in. I hit them. I did 6 damage to this guy, even though they reduced by 1. And then, miracle of miracles, he got a single wound into my Incubi, and I saved it on the 5-up invul because of the power from pain being +1. Ridiculous. Shouldn't happen. Actually, I rolled a 6 to save it, so I saved it either way. So he actually did not kill an Incubi. Then this guy stomped in and got 2 wounds through, but he's kitted out with the guns, so he was not able to kill anybody because I rolled 3s to save. So that was the magnificent charge of the Light Brigade. I feel like they just suicide ran in there. And I did not forget to bring in the Grotesques. I placed them so they're sort of out of line of sight, not quite out of line of sight because of Mr. Heroic Intervention, and these guys will probably die. But they're sort of hidden. They failed their charge. I rolled an 8, used the command point reroll into an 8. I was so disappointed. So they didn't get to do anything, but they're in the spaces I need them to be, I think, and they're on the board. So it's a start. That is it. So lots of things dying, but nothing real important yet, except for his Thunderwolf Lord giving me assassinate points. And I got Stranglehold and priority targets 1 more time out of that. Whew, that's it. Going into Carlos. Base Wolves, turn 3. The turn 3 for the Space Wolves is ended. Mr. Chaplin, he came shooting around from behind cover, and he came and he made a big old advance and charge. Or he didn't advance, sorry. He just made a big charge. Yes. Around the corner of the building, tagged Drazar, not the witches, and he killed Drazar by 1 wound. 1 single wound. If I'd had a command point, I could have re-rolled it. Drazar would have been alive. He would have been crying some salty tears. But that's okay. Ifs, hads, and would-have-beens. So he picked up another 3 on Assassinate. Over here, my Incubi got vaporized by, I don't know, an array of storm cannons and other nasty bullets and things shooting into them, so they all died. My Chronos survived all of the damage from that guy by taking a single wound. It was ridiculous. And then he made the probably wise decision to charge the Chronos. He did not charge Haemonculus. So he smacked the Kronos with his Redemptor in combat. Those things are nasty. So he very much killed my Kronos. It did not actually explode. Over here, my Grotesques took a lot of shots, and I mean a lot of shots. But I have 3 left. I only actually lost 2, so they tanked.
Enough to make damage.
Yeah, they tanked a lot. He was not impressed. Carlo was a little bitter about that. Over there, my poor Incubi, poor little chaps. They just got blown up by psychic powers. There was 1 smite killed 3, and 1 other smite killed another. I was sad about that. So then everybody was free to shoot. What I wanted was, maybe lose 2 in psychic, and then those guys had to, one of them at least had to shoot the Incubi and use all of his shots. It would have been delightful, but it didn't happen that way. So that's kind of where we sit. It's still a back and forth game. It's kind of weird. I still have a lot on the table, and I still have some board control, but he's got all his big shooting stuff free, moving around, doing what it's got to do, and it's going to be hard for me to take it all out because of damage reduction with Duty Eternal. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I think I will just have to play the game. See if I can play the game well. We'll find out.
This was 6 or 1.
So at the end, his Tech Priest, his Tech Marine has been successfully healing 1 wound on those Redemptors every turn. It's been kind of comical. At the end of the turn, this is where we sit. So I'm doing good with the primaries, doing good on secondaries, and I've been holding Carlo to just the 5 on the primaries, which is hurting a little bit. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. And that's the end of that. So we'll be back in just a second for the Drukhari, turn 4. Alrighty folks, Drukhari turn 4 is ended. Still sitting on that priority target. I moved back with his Raider and had line of sight and could see into Leviathan, which I shot, and I did a whole 4 damage, which reduced to 3, and I had to command reroll the hit because it whiffed. So I did do 3 wounds on the Leviathan, so that's something. I moved my Haemonculus, he advanced that direction, and then he charged the Redemptor and the Leviathan, because why not? And because you can't overwatch the Vexator Mask. Woohoo! I also put the Ravager and that Ravager into the Leviathan, so the Leviathan's sitting at 4 wounds left. Not dead, it's got 4 wounds left, reducing damage by 1. It irks me all the time. It's been kind of saucy. So he's still there. My Grotesques, they ran and advanced and made a big old charge, got around behind the Redemptor and charged both the Redemptor and the Wolf Priest that was back there. And then his Tech Marine also decided to heroically intervene into me, so my Grotesques picked up the Tech Marine and the Wolf Priest in combat, and I didn't use them to hit the Redemptor because I wanted to actually score the points, and I hoped that they would survive, and lo and behold, 1 Grotesque is still alive. Took 3 D3 plus 3 wounds, and it killed 2, and he took a 6 wounds, took Feel Pains, and he made 4 of those Feel Pains, and he's got 2 wounds left. What a boss. Over here, this made me so sad. I moved my Grotesque, my racks forward so they're on the objective but could see and shoot him. I hit him with the Hex Rifle, and I rolled a 1-2 wound. Very disappointed. They shot and took a wound off of him. They charged, dropped him down, 6 wounds, but he's got 1 left. He was that close to dying, and I couldn't do anything about it. And then he hit me back. I made all the impulse saves except for 1, so I lost a Witch. I think that is everything that has gone on here today, folks. It is the end of my turn 4, going into Space Wolves turn 4, and this is a pretty ruthless game so far. So that is it. We'll be back for the Space Wolves turn 4 next. Okay, folks, Space Wolves turn 4 is ended. Mr. Contemptor had enough line of sight to see a little wingtip, shot and killed this. Did not actually explode, I just marked it there. These guys are okay. Over here, Cult of Strife fighting first. Well, and it was Charger, non-Charger, etc. We managed to kill him. He had enough command points for him to stand back up and swing on death, and he killed them. So that was a kind of a fantastic little time there. Over here, this big boy shot everything into these guys and managed to kill 3. Haemoxytes, racks, they're not the easiest things to shift, especially when they're being buffed to T5. Then over here, this was the story of the game. My Grotesque took 1 wound from the Psychic phase. The Haemonculus had 4 wounds left. He got shot by the Redemptor. Every single thing went into him, and he survived. He had a wound left, forcing the Leviathan to have to pump everything into him to get rid of him. That man was the best. So he did his job and then some. Then Mr. Bjorn the Fell-Handed charged my Grotesque and killed him. So that's how that situation resolved itself. That is it. The Psyker jumped backwards a little bit to get on that objective and stay away from murder death over here. Crazy, crazy, crazy game. So we're going into turn 5. It is the very end. On points, I think the Drukhari are going to win, but it's a lot of murder happening, and I haven't really gotten any of his big stuff dead, which is kind of weird. But I've been trying to play the mission, and I think that'll help me in points-wise, but it's pretty crazy. Everybody would think that the Dark Lances would do business, but I only got 1 shot and 1 wound with a Dark Lance so far. So we'll be back in just a minute with Drukhari turn 5. All right, my turn is over. Drukhari turn 5 is done. We didn't do much here. We shot. We did nothing. We brought one back here with Twisted Reanimator. Then my Ravager there shot the Leviathan, dropped him to 3 wounds. And this Ravager flew across, shot the Librarian in the face, and stole the point. Very rude. And that's it. So turn 5 Drukhari's over. Turn 5 Space Wolves next. Oh, folks, the end of Space Wolves turn 5. This was wild. So we did some quick figuring, realized as long as the Contemptor stood here, shot and killed that, he shot and killed it. All these guys were in range to shoot and kill this, and it took all 4 Dreadnoughts. That thing made more 5-up saves than it should have been possible. So they killed this. I did not actually explode. They took that point back, so he gets his priority targets. This one, they did not shoot it so they could charge it, then they killed it in melee. Over here, this Redemptor had the easy, quote-unquote, job of killing some Haemoxytes. Only 1 died to all of his shooting, and then he charged it, and he only got 1 wound, and they ignored the first damage from the first failed save in every phase, and the Redemptor failed to kill them, so I stayed on this point. It was ridiculous. That was probably the craziest thing I've seen in quite a while. We don't have the actual total. We will get another 3 for priority targets for you, sir, because you did hold your own in the end. And he did come up with 10 for primary. So at the end of the game, you can pause it and do the mathing. We haven't mathed it out, but the Drukhari win. But that was a fun game. And it's weird, because if you look at the table, I have 5 racks, 4 racks, 2 Haemoxytes, and 1 Haemonculus. That is it. That's all I have. He's still got 5 Dreadnoughts stomping around the table. But I was able to position them, box them out a little bit, and hold on to the points. That was a blast. Thank you, Carla, for making the trip all the way over here. Thanks for the game. It was fun.
It was exciting.
It was really exciting. There was a lot of weird saves. I made some great saves and I failed horrifically. You made some great saves and failed horrifically. It was a blast all the way through. Thank you very much. So I hope y'all enjoy this. It's another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report. And yeah, tell your friends. Click like, subscribe. We'll be back for another one soon.